All right, let's talk about this Facundo Farias injury, Herc. How big a blow is it to Inter Miami's title hopes in 2024?
Well, it's not a blow to the title hopes. It's not an immediate blow per se because he plays on the left-hand side as a winger. He's not going to play over Messi. And when he did play not on the left-hand side, he was playing as a second striker, not going to play over Luis Suarez. They went two strikers today versus Dallas, and it was Messi and Luis Suarez. So immediately not a massive blow. It is a massive blow to their hopes of the future, of what this player could be. It's Facundo Farias' second ACL injury, opposite knee. He just recovered from an ACL injury in May. So they were hoping this player would become the player everybody in Argentina thought he would be, potentially with Inter Miami. We saw flashes of his brilliance last season, how explosive he could be, how goal direct and vertical he can be. And you thought maybe a season under Messi's care, under Messi's guidance, could season him in the right direction for him to be an impact player. It's a under-22 initiative player. He's a young DP, so this one hurts. Ignorantly speaking, I don't know how that will work. I don't know if they can absolve this from the salary cap and get somebody else in the injured reserve. I don't know if they can do that, but certainly from a developmental standpoint, a tactical standpoint, from Tata Martino, from Chris Henderson, from the people at Inter Miami, this is a blow. But more than anything, because this is second knee injury, serious knee injury to a young player in such a short span. Two different knees, two different injuries, so this one hurts.
Yeah, you mentioned he is U22 initiative. He also eats up an international spot on that roster, so it'll be interesting to see what Inter Miami can do there. We used to say ACL was like end of a season, right? At this point, it's February. Like, I don't know, maybe there's a chance that he could come back late in the year. You just have to doubt what player would he be, right? Like, where would he be? How quickly could he fit in? How really would he make a difference? Herc, I think this is a big deal to Inter Miami because when we think about how they're going to be built and what kind of league this is, and if we go back to some of the comments we heard from Sergio Busquets and some of the concerns we had last year, it is on the defensive side of the ball. And that's not always, because I know Facundo Farias is an attacking player, that's not always just down to the guys in the back four or the back three. There's a total effort to defending. And when you've got a guy like Luis Suarez, who's not going to cover a lot of ground, and Lionel Messi, who's not going to cover a lot of ground, and Sergio Busquets, who's not going to cover a lot of ground, you need guys who are going to cover ground. And this was a young attacking player who was going to cover a lot of ground. I don't know that I'm going to sit here and say it's a big blow to what the expectation should be about Inter Miami, because you've got all those stars, and this is not, you're not losing a Messi or a Suarez or an Alba or a Busquets. But this is a significant issue for Tata Martino. This is not a player that I think they were looking at, oh, we can lose and we'll just figure this out. I think this is a major piece for Inter Miami. And whatever titles they are going to win, if they do go out and win it without this guy, it's going to be a lot tougher.
It's going to be a lot tougher. And if I'm Tata Martino, if I'm Chris Henderson and the powers that be at Inter Miami, I just saw a player go down with a major knee injury in game number 1 of a preseason tour that's going to go over 20,000 miles around the globe. Like, that's going to freak me out. The very first game, somebody goes down, and that has nothing to do with fatigue. That has nothing to do with how their body's been in the trip. It was a freak accident. Now my nerves are on edge for what can come in this 20,000-mile trip or preseason tour.
Well, let's be fair. When we first saw that schedule, Herc, we said they're already going to be asking a lot of these guys just from the MLS and Leagues Cup and Copa America and all that stuff.
But we're not talking about the older guys.
Right, all right. But when you add this preseason, we said, all right, they're really stretching. Now, when I first saw about this injury, I thought, oh, we can hammer Inter Miami here. You know, we can really get after them. And then you know what changed my mind? The images that I'm glad we got in the highlight of what it meant in El Salvador for Lionel Messi and company to make this trip. You saw Mágico González there, icon of Salvadoran soccer. Like, those were very cool images, and we always talk about some of this being a cash grab. Inter Miami could have gone a lot of places and probably maximized their dollar more than El Salvador. I'm glad they went there, and you see the power of this brand and this player and what he can do, not just for Inter Miami, but I think for American soccer going down there.
You're trying to tell me this wasn't a cash grab?
No, I think it was a cash grab, but I think there's places they could, if they were only focused on money, Inter Miami, they could have gone other places to make more money. I think it's great that we're seeing Lionel Messi go to places like Central America, not just here, but with the chance in CONCACAF Champions Cup.
I think this is all money. I think by no means is El Salvador incapable of paying top dollar, or the president of El Salvador for. They actually had a sit down with Messi, the president of El Salvador. I think this is all money, Seb. I think that's the reason they're going to go straight to Hong Kong after Dallas. I think that's the reason they're going to go to, Saudi Arabia after that. This is all money in some shape or form.
Then you should be crushing Inter Miami for getting a guy hurt, grabbing for money.
Well, you can get hurt walking down the street. He didn't get hurt because they were in El Salvador. The play is Darwin Serin, ex-Houston Dynamo player, who ends up trying to jump over him and puts a little bit of pressure on him.
Bad tackle, right?
No, it's not a bad tackle. What I'm saying is a freak accident. That could happen to anybody. And that's part of the game. But it doesn't mean we can't call it what it is. They're doing this preseason tour for money, not out of the kindness of their heart.
So Inter Miami, 2 games into their preseason, no wins, no goals, and one major injury to Facundo Farias.